The news spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Every planet, every space station, every ship floating in the darkness of space received the same message. Queen Valora of the Celestin Empire was looking for a husband. This was not ordinary news. Queen Valora ruled over 2,000 star systems. Her empire was the largest and most powerful in the known galaxy. She had lived for 300 years, and in all that time, she had never taken a partner. Many had tried to win her heart. All had failed, but now everything was different. The queen had made a decree. She would hold a competition, open to all species in the galaxy. Anyone could enter. Anyone could try to become her husband and rule beside her on the throne of stars. Can Tejo heard the news while eating noodles in a small food shop on Station 47. The station floated at the edge of known space, far from anything important. Tejo was a cargo pilot. He moved boxes and supplies from one place to another. It was not exciting work, but it paid enough to keep his ship running and food in his stomach. The shop owner, an old alien with 6 eyes and blue skin, pointed at the screen on the wall. "Look at this," he said. "The Celestin Queen wants a husband. Every prince and warlord in the galaxy will fight for her hand." Tejo looked at the screen. He saw the queen's face for the first time. She had silver hair that floated around her head like a cloud. Her eyes were deep violet, like the color of space itself. Her skin was pale and smooth, and she wore a crown made of pure light. She was beautiful. But more than that, she looked sad. Tejo could see it in her eyes. Behind all the power and glory, there was loneliness. "Not my problem," Tejo said, returning to his noodles. "I have cargo to deliver." He was human. In this galaxy, that meant very little. Humans were one of the youngest species among the stars. They had no special powers. They could not read minds like the Mindori. They could not lift mountains like the Gorvak. They could not live for thousands of years like the Celestin. Other species often called humans soft creatures or prey animals. It was not meant as a compliment. Tejo finished his meal and walked back to his ship. It was an old vessel, held together with repairs and hope. He called it the Wanderer because that was what he was. A wanderer with no home, no family, and no future beyond the next job. His next delivery took him through a dangerous part of space. Pirates often hunted in this area, looking for easy targets. Tejo kept his lights dim and his engines quiet. He had made this trip many times before. He knew how to avoid trouble, but trouble found him anyway. A distress signal appeared on his screen. Someone was calling for help. Tejo hesitated. Answering distress signals in pirate territory was dangerous. It could be a trap. Smart pilots ignored such calls and kept moving. Tejo was not always smart. He changed course and flew toward the signal. He found a small ship, badly damaged and drifting without power. Pirate vessels circled it like sharks around wounded prey. They had not yet boarded the ship, but they would soon. Tejo should have turned away. His ship had no weapons. He had no way to fight 3 pirate vessels. But something made him stay. Maybe it was foolishness. Maybe it was something else. He opened his communication channel. "This is cargo vessel Wanderer," he said. "I am carrying medical supplies for the Celestin, military outpost on Cora 5. Any attack on my ship will be considered an act of war against the Celestin Empire." It was a lie. He was carrying machine parts, not medical supplies. And he had no connection to the Celestin military. But the pirates did not know that. There was a long moment of silence. The pirates knew that attacking a Celestin supply ship would bring terrible punishment. The Empire did not forgive such crimes. One by one, the pirate vessels turned and flew away. Tejo let out a breath he did not know he was holding. His hands were shaking. He flew his ship close to the damaged vessel and connected the 2 ships together. Inside, he found a woman. She was Celestine, with the silver hair and pale skin of her people. She was injured, with blood on her face and burns on her arms. But she was alive. "Thank you," she whispered as Taeho helped her onto his ship. "You saved my life." "Anyone would have done the same," Taeho said. "No," the woman replied. "They would not. I have sent many distress signals. You are the only one who answered." Taeho took her to the nearest medical station. The doctors there treated her wounds, and she recovered quickly. Before she left, she asked Taeho his name. "Kang Taeho," he said. "Just a cargo pilot?" The woman smiled. It was a strange smile, like she knew a secret. "I am Lady Esiel," she said. "I serve Queen Valora directly. I will not forget what you did for me, Kang Taeho." Then she was gone. Taeho forgot about her. He returned to his work, moving cargo from one station to another. Weeks passed. The news about the Queen's competition continued to spread. Millions of candidates from across the galaxy traveled to the Celestine homeworld to compete. Then, one day, Taeho received a message. It was an official document, sealed with the mark of the Celestine Empire. His hands trembled as he opened it. "Tan Taeho of Earth," the message read, "you have been selected as a candidate in the royal competition for the hand of Queen Valora. You are commanded to present yourself at the royal palace on Lamora within 30 standard days. Failure to appear is punishable by death." Taeho read the message 3 times. It made no sense. He had not entered any competition. He had no desire to marry a queen. He was just a cargo pilot, but the seal was real. The command was real. And the punishment for refusing was very real. He thought about running. He could fly to the edge of the galaxy and hide. But the Celestine Empire had eyes everywhere. They would find him eventually. And then he would die. Taeho sat alone in his ship for a long time. He looked at the message again and again. Finally, he started his engines. He had no choice. He had to compete. As the Wanderer jumped into faster-than-light travel, Taeho wondered what Lady Esiel had done. He wondered why she had entered his name. And he wondered how long a simple human could survive in a competition meant for gods. He would find out soon enough. Lamora was the most beautiful planet Taeho had ever seen. It floated in space like a jewel, covered in silver clouds and blue oceans. 3 moons circled around it, each one glowing with soft light. Ships from every corner of the galaxy flew toward it, creating rivers of metal and fire in the sky. Taeho guided his old ship through the traffic. All around him were vessels of incredible size and beauty. Golden ships from the Volfari Dominion. Crystal ships from the Mindari Collective. Ships made of living wood from the Forest Kingdoms. Ships made of pure energy from civilizations so advanced that humans could not understand them. And then there was the Wanderer. Small, old, and held together with tape and prayers. A voice came through his communication system. "Cargo vessel Wanderer, you are in restricted space. State your purpose." Taeho sent the official invitation. There was a long pause. "A human?" The voice sounded surprised. "You are a candidate for the royal competition." "That is what the letter says," Taeho replied. Another pause. Then the voice returned, now cold and formal. "Proceed to landing platform 912. Welcome to Lamora." Taeho landed his ship on a platform at the very edge of the royal complex. The important candidates had platforms near the palace. He was as far from the palace as possible without being in the ocean. He stepped out of his ship and looked around. The air smelled sweet, like flowers he could not name. The sky was pink and gold, filled with floating islands and towers of crystal. In the distance, the royal palace rose above everything else. It did not sit on the ground. It floated among the clouds, held up by ancient magic that humans could not understand. Beautiful, is it not? Teho turned. A young woman stood behind him. She had silver hair like all Celestin, but her clothes were simple. She was a servant, not a noble. "I am Nari," she said with a small bow. "I have been assigned to help you during your stay. Help me?" Teho asked. "All candidates receive assistance," Nari explained. "Though I must be honest with you. Most servants fight to serve the powerful princes and lords. No one wanted to serve the human. So they sent me. Because you are also unwanted?" Nari smiled. It was a sad smile. "I am the lowest servant in the palace. Serving you is considered a punishment." Teho laughed. He could not help it. "Then we are perfect for each other. The unwanted servant and the unwanted candidate." Nari's smile became warmer. "I think I will like you. Kang Teho, come. I will take you to your room." The room was small but clean. It had a bed, a window, and little else. Nari explained that the powerful candidates had entire floors of the palace to themselves. Teho had a room smaller than his ship's cargo hold. "It does not matter," Teho said. "I only need a place to sleep." Nari looked at him with curious eyes. "You are strange for a candidate. The others arrived with armies and treasures. They make demands and threats. You arrived alone with nothing." "I did not choose to be here," Teho admitted. "Someone entered my name without asking me." "Then why did you come?" "Because refusing would mean death." Teho sat on the bed. It was soft, softer than anything he had ever felt. "I am not here to win. I am here to survive." Nari nodded slowly. "Then I must warn you. No human has ever survived past the first trial." That night, there was a great gathering in the main hall of the palace. All candidates were required to attend and present themselves before the queen. Teho had no fine clothes. He wore his cleanest work uniform, the dark blue outfit of a cargo pilot. Nari tried to find him something better, but nothing fit his human body. He went to the gathering looking exactly like what he was, a working man who did not belong. The main hall was larger than any building Teho had ever seen. 1,000 pillars of crystal held up a ceiling painted with stars. Floating lights drifted through the air like fireflies. And everywhere, there were candidates. Teho saw creatures of every shape and size. He saw giants made of stone and beings made of pure light. He saw princes in armor of gold and scholars in robes of silk. He saw warriors with scars on their faces and diplomats with honey on their tongues, and they all looked at him with the same expression, disgust. "Is that a human?" Someone whispered. "How did such a creature get an invitation? This must be a joke." A massive figure stepped in front of Teho, blocking his path. It was a Valkyrie, a reptilian species known for their strength and cruelty. This one was larger than most, with 4 arms and scales the color of blood. He wore armor decorated with the bones of his enemies. "I am Prince Driven of the Valkyrie Dominion," the creature said. His voice was like grinding rocks. "And you are a human, a prey animal, a soft creature that my people hunt for sport." Teho looked up at the prince. He felt afraid, but he did not show it. "I am Kang Teho. I am a cargo pilot." Driven laughed. It was an ugly sound. "A cargo pilot? You carry boxes for a living? And you think you can compete with me for the queen's hand?" "I do not think anything," Teho said calmly. "I received an invitation. I came. That is all." Before Driven could respond, another voice joined the conversation. It came from everywhere and nowhere at once. How amusing. The beast and the insect, arguing over a flower neither can touch. A figure appeared next to them. It had no solid body. It was made of light and shadow, constantly shifting and changing. 2 eyes glowed in what might have been a face. "I am Lord Castor of the Mindari Collective," the being said. We are one mind in 10 million bodies. We have existed for 100,000 years. We have forgotten more knowledge than your species will ever learn. Castor turned to Tejo. Your mind is primitive, simple. I could break it with a thought. You are nothing, human. You should leave before you embarrass yourself. Tejo said nothing. What could he say? They were right. He was nothing compared to them. A bell rang through the hall. Everyone fell silent and turned toward the throne at the far end of the room. Queen Valora entered. She walked slowly, with grace that seemed impossible. Her silver hair floated around her like a living thing. Her violet eyes swept across the room, seeing everything and everyone. She wore a dress made of starlight, and a crown of pure energy sat upon her head. She was the most beautiful and terrifying thing Tejo had ever seen. The queen sat on her throne and looked at her suitors. Hundreds of the most powerful beings in the galaxy looked back at her with hunger in their eyes. Then her gaze found Tejo, standing alone in his simple uniform. For a moment, just a brief moment, their eyes met. Tejo saw something in her expression, something that surprised him. It was not disgust or amusement. It was curiosity. And underneath that, very deep where no one else could see it, there was loneliness. The queen looked away, and the moment passed. Welcome, candidates, she said. Her voice was soft but carried to every corner of the hall. The competition will consist of 5 trials: strength, wisdom, heart, sacrifice, truth. Many of you will fail. Some of you will die. In the end, only one will remain. She paused, and her eyes seemed to find Tejo again. May the worthy one win. The Arena of 1,000 Suns was built on a moon that orbited Lumora. It was an ancient place, used for battles and competitions since before humans learned to make fire. The arena floor was made of black stone, and the walls rose so high that they seemed to touch the sky. Floating platforms held millions of spectators from across the galaxy. Tejo stood in the waiting area with the other candidates. The first trial was about to begin. Strength. Everyone knew what this meant. They would fight Dot around him. The other candidates prepared for battle. Prince Dreven sharpened his claws on the stone wall, leaving deep marks. Lord Castor floated silently, his energy form pulsing with power. Warriors from a dozen species stretched their muscles and checked their weapons. Tejo had no weapons. He had no armor. He had only his body and his mind. Nari had come to see him before the trial. She looked worried. The trial is simple, she explained. Each candidate must face an opponent in the arena. You must defeat them or survive until time runs out. If you fall unconscious or surrender, you are eliminated. If you die, she did not finish the sentence. What kind of opponents? Tejo asked. It changes. Some candidates fight each other. Some fight beasts. Some fight machines. The arena decides. The arena decides? Nari nodded. The Arena of 1,000 Suns is alive, in a way. It reads each candidate and chooses a challenge that will test them. For warriors, it sends enemies they cannot overpower. For scholars, it sends problems they cannot think through. It finds your weakness and exploits it. Tejo understood. The arena would not give him an easy fight. It would give him something designed to destroy him. You should run, Nari whispered. Find a way to escape. No one would blame you. I cannot run, Tejo said. The Empire would hunt me down. Then at least try to survive. Do not fight bravely. Do not try to win. Just survive. Tejo smiled at her. It was a tired smile, but it was real. Thank you, Nari, for caring about what happens to me. Nari looked away, but he could see tears in her eyes. You are a good person, Tejo. The galaxy needs more good people. The trial began. One by one, the candidates entered the arena. Prince Dreven was called first. His opponent was a creature of living metal, fast and deadly. Dreven tore it apart with his forearms in less than 3 minutes. The crowd roared with approval. Lord Castor faced a being like himself, made of pure psychic energy. Their battle was invisible to most eyes, fought on a level that only telepaths could see. In the end, Castor absorbed his opponent completely, growing larger and brighter. The crowd cheered again. Other candidates fought and won. Some fought and lost. A few died on the arena floor, their bodies carried away by silent servants. The competition was real. The danger was real. Then they called his name. Kang Taeho of Earth. Taeho walked onto the arena floor. The black stone was cold under his feet. The crowd above him fell silent for a moment, then began to laugh. A human. This will be quick. I bet 10 credits he dies in 1 minute. Taeho ignored them. He looked around the arena, studying the ground, the walls, the distance to each edge. If he was going to survive, he needed to know his environment. The gate on the opposite side of the arena opened. Was a nightmare. It was a Gorvok, but not a normal one. This creature had been bred for killing. It stood 3 times taller than Taeho, with arms thick as tree trunks and claws that could cut through steel. Its skin was covered in natural armor, gray and hard as rock. Small eyes filled with hunger looked at Taeho like he was a meal. The crowd gasped. Even for the arena, this was extreme. Gorvaks were nearly impossible to kill. Sending one against a human was like sending a mountain against an ant. Prince Dreven laughed from his viewing platform. The human will not last 10 seconds. The Gorvak charged. Taeho ran. He did not run away from the creature. He ran sideways, toward the edge of the arena. The Gorvak was fast, but it was also big. Big things had trouble changing direction. The creature slammed into the wall where Taeho had been standing. Stone cracked under the impact. The Gorvak roared in anger and turned to chase him again. Taeho kept running. He circled the arena, staying close to the walls. The Gorvak followed, always just behind him. The crowd began to boo. Fight, human! Coward! Stop running and die with honor. Taeho did not care about honor. He cared about living. As he ran, he noticed things. He noticed that the arena floor was not flat. There were slight slopes and dips. He noticed that some stones were darker than others, and these darker stones seemed loose. He noticed that the Gorvak was getting slower. The creature was tired. Gorvaks were powerful, but they were not built for long chases. Their massive bodies needed huge amounts of energy to move. The arena had chosen this creature because of its strength, but strength meant nothing if it could not catch its prey. Taeho had spent his whole life running from problems, running from pain, running from memories. He knew how to run better than anyone. He led the Gorvak around the arena again and again. Each circle, the creature moved a little slower. Each circle, its breathing became heavier. Its roars became weaker. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then 30. The crowd stopped booing. They watched in silence as the tiny human continued to run, never stopping, never slowing down. The Gorvak stumbled. Its legs shook. Foam dripped from its mouth. Taeho stopped running. He turned and faced the creature. The Gorvak tried to charge one more time. It managed 3 steps before its legs gave out. The massive beast collapsed on the arena floor, too exhausted to move. It lay there, breathing heavily, defeated without a single blow being struck. The arena was silent. Then a single person began to clap. The sound echoed through the empty air. Taeho looked up and saw Queen Valora in her royal box, her hands coming together in slow applause. She was smiling. One by one, others joined her. The applause grew until it filled the arena like thunder. People who had laughed at him minutes ago now cheered his name. Kang Tae-ho! Kan Tae-ho! Tae-ho stood alone on the arena floor, covered in sweat and shaking with exhaustion. He had not won by being stronger. He had won by being smarter, by being patient, by refusing to fight a battle he could not win. Prince Driven was no longer laughing. His reptilian eyes watched Tae-ho with new interest and new hatred. Lord Castor's glowing form flickered. Interesting, the collective mind said. The human is more than he appears. Above them all, Queen Valora continued to smile. She leaned toward Lady Isil, who stood beside her throne. You were right about him, the Queen said softly. He is different. I knew you would see it, Your Majesty, Lady Isil replied. The Queen watched Tae-ho leave the arena. He walked with his head down, not celebrating, not showing pride. He walked like a man who had done what he had to do and nothing more. Humans, Queen Valora murmured to herself. What strange creatures they are. The first trial was over. Tae-ho had survived, but 3 more trials waited. And they would not all be about running. The second trial took place in the Temple of Endless Paths. It was an ancient building at the heart of Lumora, older than the Empire itself. Inside was a labyrinth, a maze of corridors that shifted and changed according to rules no one fully understood. Nari explained it to Tae-ho the night before. The labyrinth reads your mind, she said. It becomes harder the more you try to solve it. The smartest beings in the galaxy have tried to conquer it with pure intelligence. Most of them are still inside, lost forever. Then how does anyone complete it? Tae-ho asked. No one knows. Each person finds their own path. Or they do not find it at all. The candidates entered the labyrinth one at a time. Each person entered through a different door and walked alone. There was no fighting here, no enemies to defeat. There was only the maze in the mind. Tae-ho stepped through his door and found himself in a corridor of white stone. The walls stretched up beyond what his eyes could see. The path ahead split into 3 directions. He started walking. After an hour, Tae-ho realized he was going in circles. Every path he chose led him back to the same place. The walls seemed to mock him, shifting just enough to confuse his sense of direction. He stopped and sat down on the cold floor. Other candidates were probably trying harder, thinking faster, using their powerful minds to analyze every possible route. Lord Castor had millions of minds working together. Prince Driven had strategists who had studied this labyrinth for years. Tae-ho had nothing, no special intelligence, no team of advisors, just himself. He closed his eyes. He thought about what Nari had said. The labyrinth became harder the more you tried to solve it. That meant effort was the enemy. Thinking was the enemy. What if the answer was not to think at all? Tae-ho stood up. He stopped looking at the walls. He stopped trying to remember which way he had gone. He just walked. He walked without purpose. When he came to a turn, he turned without thinking about it. When he faced a choice, he chose without analyzing it. He let his feet carry him forward while his mind remained empty. Time passed. He did not know how much. Then, suddenly, he was outside. Tae-ho blinked in the bright light. He stood in a garden at the center of the temple. Flowers of every color surrounded him, and in the middle of the garden was a pool of clear water. A Celestin monk sat beside the pool. She was old, older than anyone Tae-ho had ever seen. Her silver hair had turned white, and her face was lined with countless years. You are the first to arrive, she said. Tae-ho looked around. The first? But I did not even try to solve the maze. The old monk smiled. That is why you are first. The labyrinth tests wisdom, not intelligence. The wise person knows when to stop struggling. You stopped struggling faster than anyone else. I did not feel wise, Teo admitted. I felt lost. Being lost and knowing you are lost is the beginning of wisdom. Being lost and believing you know the way is the end of it. Other candidates began to emerge from the labyrinth. Many looked frustrated and confused. Some never emerged at all. Lord Castor took 3 hours to find his way out. Prince Dreven took 5. When the prince learned that the human had finished first, his rage shook the garden, but the trial was complete. Tejo had passed. The 3rd trial came the next day. It was called the Trial of Heart. Each candidate entered a special chamber where their greatest fear would become real. It was not real, Nari explained. It was an illusion, a dream created by ancient machines. But it would feel real. It would hurt like real pain. Many candidates break in this trial, Nari warned. They come out screaming, crying, or completely silent. Some never recover. Their minds are destroyed by what they see. What happens if I survive? Tejo asked. Then you prove you have the strength of heart to rule beside the queen. The Celestin believe that true power comes from facing your deepest fear and not breaking. Tejo entered the chamber. The door closed behind him, and everything went dark. When the light returned, he was not on Lumora anymore. He was on Earth. He was in a small apartment in the city where he grew up. The walls were thin. The furniture was old, and rain fell outside the dirty window. His sister Yuna was lying on a bed in the corner. She was dying. Tejo felt his heart crack open. He remembered this. He had lived through this already, 15 years ago. Yuna was his younger sister, the only family he had left. She had gotten sick, very sick, and there was no medicine that could save her. He had been 19 years old. He had worked 3 jobs, trying to earn enough money for treatment, but it was never enough. It was never, ever enough. He watched himself as a younger man, sitting beside Yuna's bed. The younger Tejo was crying, begging her not to leave him. "Brother," Yuna whispered. Her voice was so weak. "It is okay. I am not afraid." "I am afraid," the younger Tejo said. "I cannot do this without you." Yuna smiled. Even dying, she was the stronger one. "You can. You will. Promise me you will keep living. Promise me you will find something to live for." "I promise," the younger Tejo said through his tears. The Tejo from the present watched this scene with tears running down his own face. The fear he was facing was not death. It was not pain. It was helplessness. The fear of watching someone he loved suffer while he could do nothing to save them. The younger Tejo held Yuna's hand as she took her last breath. Then he was alone. The present Tejo walked forward. The scene was frozen now, waiting for something. This was the test. He was supposed to break. He was supposed to scream or fight or try to change the past. Instead, he knelt beside the bed. He looked at Yuna's peaceful face. "I am sorry I could not save you," he said. "I am sorry I left Earth and ran away to space. I was running from the pain of losing you." He touched her cold hand. "But I kept my promise. I am still living. I do not know what I am living for yet. Maybe I never will, but I am still here." He leaned forward and kissed her forehead. "I love you, Yuna. I will always love you, and I will carry you with me until the day I die." The illusion shattered like glass. Tejo found himself back in the chamber. The door opened and light flooded in. Nari was waiting outside, her face pale with worry. "Are you?" she started to ask. Tejo stepped out. His face was wet with tears, but his eyes were clear. "I am okay," he said. "I faced it, and I survived. Not everyone did." Prince Dreven emerged from his chamber, screaming about enemies and betrayal. He attacked 3 guards before he was restrained. Lord Castor's collective mind fractured for several hours, its many voices arguing with each other in chaos. Queen Valora watched the recordings of each candidate's trial. When she came to Tejo's, she watched it 3 times. He did not fight the fear, Lady Seal observed. He accepted it. He made peace with it. The queen said nothing. But that night, for the first time in many years, she dreamed of something other than loneliness. She dreamed of a human man kneeling beside a bed, holding the hand of someone he loved. 3 trials had passed. Hundreds of candidates had fallen. What began as a sea of powerful beings had become a small group of survivors. Prince Dreven remained, though his eyes now carried a dark anger that scared even his own servants. Lord Castor remained, his collective mind now more focused and dangerous than before. And Kang Taeho remained, the human cargo pilot who refused to die. The galaxy was talking about him now. Stories spread from planet to planet about the strange human who won trials he should have lost. Some called him lucky. Some called him a fraud. A few called him something else. Dangerous. But Taeho did not feel dangerous. He felt tired. Each trial took something from him. The fight with the Gorvak took his strength. The labyrinth took his certainty. The vision of Yuna took his carefully built walls against pain. He was breaking, slowly. And the competition was not over. The 4th trial was announced in the Great Hall. Queen Valora stood before the remaining candidates, her violet eyes moving across each face. "You have proven your strength," she said. "You have proven your wisdom. You have proven the courage of your hearts. Now you must prove something more difficult." She paused, letting the silence grow heavy. "You must prove what you are willing to sacrifice." The crowd murmured. Sacrifice was a simple word with complicated meanings. What did the queen want them to give up? Valora continued. "Each of you will come before me and offer something precious. Something that costs you. Something that proves your devotion. I will judge each offering. Those I find worthy will continue. Those I find lacking will be eliminated." The candidates looked at each other with new calculation in their eyes. This was a different kind of battle. Not strength against strength, but gift against gift. Prince Dreven stepped forward, first. His voice boomed across the hall. "I offer conquest," he declared. "I will take 3 star systems in your name, your majesty. I will crush your enemies and lay their planets at your feet. Entire worlds will burn in tribute to your glory." He knelt, his forearms spread wide. "I offer war and victory. I offer blood and fire. Accept my gift, and you will have an empire twice the size of what you hold today." The crowd was impressed. War was the language of power. Dreven was offering to make Valora the greatest ruler in history. The queen nodded slowly. "Your offer is noted, Prince Dreven." Lord Castor floated forward next. His voice came from everywhere at once. "I offer eternity," he said. "Join my collective mind. Become one with our consciousness. You will never be alone again. You will never die. Your thoughts will live in 10 million bodies across 1,000 worlds." His form glowed brighter. "I offer immortality beyond what even the Celestin know. I offer the end of loneliness. I offer unity with something greater than yourself." The crowd whispered. Castor was offering something even more valuable than war. He was offering endless life. Endless companionship. The queen nodded again. "Your offer is noted, Lord Castor." One by one, the candidates made their offerings. A warrior offered his undefeated record, swearing to never fight again except in her name. A scholar offered his life's work, thousands of years of research and discovery. A prince offered his entire kingdom, ready to become nothing more than her servant. Each offering was grand. Each offering was expensive. Each offering was designed to prove how much the candidate was willing to give. Then it was Taeho's turn. He walked to the center of the hall. He could feel thousands of eyes on him. He could feel the queen's gaze, heavy and searching. He had nothing to offer. No armies, no wealth. No knowledge. No power. What did he have? He thought for a long moment. The silence stretched. People began to whisper, wondering if the human had finally failed. Perhaps he would simply admit defeat and walk away. Taeho lifted his head and looked directly at the queen. "I have nothing to give you," he said. His voice was quiet, but somehow everyone heard it. "I am not a warrior who can conquer worlds. I am not a god who can offer eternity. I am a cargo pilot. I carry boxes from one place to another." Prince Driven laughed. Other candidates joined him. The human was finally admitting his worthlessness, but Taeho was not finished. "I cannot offer you power," he continued. "I cannot offer you immortality. I cannot offer you anything that I have, because I have nothing." He took a deep breath. "So I offer you myself." The laughter stopped. "I offer my time. However, many years I have left, which are not many compared to your 300. I offer my attention, my care, my presence." He knelt, not like Driven had knelt, with pride and display, but simply like a man offering a gift to a friend. Every candidate here wants something from you. They want your power, your beauty, your empire. They see you as a prize to be won, a tool to be used. He looked up at her, and there was no fear in his eyes. "I do not want anything from you. I just thought you might want someone who sees you as a person. Someone who would listen when you need to talk. Someone who would stay when everyone else wants something." The hall was silent, completely silent. "I offer my freedom," Taeho said. "Not as a king beside you, but as whatever you need me to be. A friend, a servant, a nobody who sits with you when the crown becomes too heavy." He bowed his head. "That is all I have. I am sorry, it is not more." No one moved. No one spoke. The candidates stared at the kneeling human with expressions ranging from confusion to disgust. What kind of offering was this? He was offering nothing. Just words. Just empty promises. But Queen Galora did not look disgusted that she rose from her throne. She descended the steps, slowly, with every eye in the hall following her. She walked across the floor until she stood directly in front of Tae-Ho. No one breathed. The queen spoke, and her voice was soft, meant only for him. "In 300 years, I have been offered armies and empires. I have been offered treasures beyond counting. I have been offered eternal life and endless power. Everyone wants to give me more." She reached down and touched his chin, lifting his face to look at her. "You are the first person who ever offered to just be with me." Tears were forming in her ancient eyes. Tears that she had not shed in centuries. "Your offer is accepted, Kang Taeho." She turned and walked back to her throne. Her voice carried across the hall, strong and final. "The fourth trial is complete." The candidates erupted in protests. Prince Driven roared with rage. Lord Castor's form flickered wildly. They had offered conquest and immortality, and the queen accepted the offer of a human who had nothing. But the queen's word was law. The decision was made as Taeho stood and walked back to his place. He passed Lady Isil. She smiled at him, and he finally understood why she had entered his name in this competition. She had known. Somehow, she had known what the queen truly needed. Not power, not eternity, just someone who cared. The final trial was the most dangerous of all. The pool of truth was hidden deep beneath the royal palace, in chambers that few had ever seen. It was older than the Celestine Empire, older than memory itself. Some said it was created by gods. Others said it was a window into the soul. Everyone agreed on one thing. The pool could not be fooled. When you entered the pool of truth, your deepest thoughts became visible to all. Your hidden desires, your secret plans, your true intentions were broadcast for everyone to see. No lie could survive it. No mask could hide what you really were. many powerful beings had entered the pool throughout history. Most of them regretted it. The remaining candidates gathered at the entrance to the underground chambers. Their number had been reduced to just 12. 12 beings who had survived strength, wisdom, heart, and sacrifice. Now they would face truth. Prince Driven paced like a caged animal. His earlier confidence had been replaced by nervous energy. What secrets did he hide behind those reptilian eyes? Lord Castor floated silently, his collective minds whispering to each other in languages no one else could hear. What thoughts moved through a being made of 10 million voices? Tejo stood apart from the others. He felt strangely calm. He had spent his whole life running from truth. Running from the truth of his sister's death. Running from the truth of his loneliness. Running from the truth that he did not know, who he was or what he wanted. Maybe it was time to stop running. Nari found him before the trial began. Her eyes were red, as if she had been crying. "This trial will expose everything," she said. "Every thought you have ever hidden. Every feeling you have ever buried. Are you ready for that?" Tejo thought about it. "I do not know. I have many things I am not proud of. Many feelings I have never admitted." "Like what?" He smiled sadly. "I am angry. I have been angry for 15 years, ever since my sister died. I am angry at the universe for taking her. I am angry at myself for surviving when she did not. I carry that anger everywhere I go." Nari took his hand. It was a small gesture, but it meant everything. "Anger is not something to be ashamed of," she said. "Anger means you love someone enough to hurt when they left." "The pool will show everyone what I really am," Tejo said. "A broken man pretending to be whole." "Or perhaps," Nari replied, "it will show them a man brave enough to admit he is broken." The trial began, one by one. The candidates descended into the underground chamber and entered the pool. The waters glowed with ancient light. And as each being stepped in, their truth was projected into the air above them for all to see. Prince Driven entered first. The pool revealed his soul. Images of conquest and blood filled the air. But beneath the surface was something uglier. Driven did not want to marry the queen. He wanted to use her armies to destroy his rivals. He wanted to become emperor of the galaxy. The queen was just a step on his path to total domination. When he emerged from the pool, Driven's face was twisted with shame and rage. The queen looked at him with cold eyes. "You are dismissed," she said. "You cannot do this." Driven roared. "I am a prince." "I am. You are a liar and a user," Valora interrupted. "The pool has spoken. Leave my sight." Guards escorted the screaming prince away. Lord Castor entered next. His truth was different, but equally ugly. The collective mind did not see the queen as a partner. It saw her as a resource. If she joined Castor, her consciousness would be absorbed into the collective. Her individual self would cease to exist. She would become just another voice among millions. "You do not offer unity," the queen said coldly. "You offer consumption. You are dismissed." Lord Castor did not argue. The collective simply floated away, its many minds already calculating new plans. Others followed. Each candidate had secrets. One wanted revenge on enemies. One wanted access to Celestine technology. One wanted to use the marriage to escape debts. One wanted nothing more than bragging rights. None of them wanted Valora. They wanted what she represented. Finally, only Tejo remained. He walked to the pool and looked into its glowing waters. He could see his reflection there, rippling and uncertain. He took a deep breath and stepped in. The water was warm. It wrapped around him like an embrace. He felt it reaching into his mind, searching through memories and feelings he had locked away for years. Then everything inside him was broadcast to the world. They saw his childhood. A poor family in a small apartment. A sick sister who he loved more than anything. Years of struggle and failure, they saw his anger. The burning rage at a universe that took Yuna away. The hatred he felt for his own helplessness. They saw his escape. How he left Earth because it hurt too much to stay. How he flew from planet to planet, never staying, never connecting, never letting anyone get close. They saw his loneliness. The empty nights on his ship. The conversations with strangers that never went deeper than the surface. The walls he built around his heart. And then they saw something else. They saw him arriving at this competition, confused and scared. They saw him meeting the Queen for the first time and noticing the loneliness in her eyes. They saw his recognition of a pain he knew too well. They saw his thoughts, clear and honest. She is lonely. She has been lonely for a long time. Everyone wants something from her. No one just wants her. I know what that feels like. I do not want to be king. I do not want power or glory. I do not want her empire. I just want her to know that someone sees her. Really sees her. Maybe that is not enough. Maybe I am foolish for thinking it matters. But I wish someone had seen me when I was alone. I wish someone had cared. So I will care about her. Even if she does not choose me. Even if I fail. Because everyone deserves to be seen. The images faded. The pool fell silent. Tae-ho stood in the water, exposed completely. Every weakness, every pain, every hidden part of his soul had been shown to thousands of watching eyes. He felt naked in a way that had nothing to do with clothes. He looked up at the Queen. She was standing now. She had left her throne and walked to the edge of the pool. Her violet eyes were wide, shining with something that might have been tears. "You," she whispered. "You truly want nothing from me?" "I want you to be happy," Tae-ho said simply. "That is all." Valora descended the steps into the pool. The water rippled around her as she walked toward him. She stopped an arm's length away, close enough to touch. "In 300 years, she said, "no one has ever looked at me the way you do. How do I look at you? Like I am just a person. Not a queen. Not a prize. Just a person who is tired and sad and lonely." Tae-ho nodded. "That is what I see." A tear fell down the Queen's cheek. In that moment, she was not the ruler of 2,000 star systems. She was just a woman who had been alone for too long. "The trial is complete," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber, and everyone knew who had won. The news spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. The competition was over. The Queen had made her choice. And the winner was not a prince or a god or a conqueror. The winner was a human, cargo pilot. The response was immediate and violent. Prince Driven, expelled from the palace but not yet gone from Lamora, heard the news and went mad with rage. He gathered his guards and stormed toward the throne room, determined to kill the human who had stolen what should have been his. Other dismissed candidates joined him. They had armies. They had powers. They had centuries of pride that could not accept defeat at the hands of such a weak creature. Tae-ho stood in the throne room when the doors exploded inward. Driven charged through the smoke, his forearms raised, his claws ready to tear the human apart. But before he could reach Tae-ho, someone stepped between them. Queen Valora. She did not raise a weapon. She did not call for guards. She simply stood there, her violet eyes burning with cold fire. "You dare," she said softly. "You dare attack in my house. You dare threaten the one I have chosen." Driven hesitated. He was powerful, but he was not a fool. Fighting the Queen meant death. "He is nothing," Driven roared. "He is a weak, short-lived, meaningless creature. How can you choose him over me? Over any of us?" Valora looked at the gathered attackers. Dozens of powerful beings, all united in their hatred of one small human. "You ask why I chose him?" she said. "I will tell you." She turned and looked at Tae-ho. "For 300 years, I have sat on that throne. I have been worshipped and feared. I have commanded armies and ruled empires. Everyone who comes before me wants something. They want power. They want wealth. They want glory reflected from my crown. Her voice grew softer. This man wanted nothing. He had nothing to offer and asked for nothing in return. He looked at me and saw not a queen, but a lonely woman behind a crown. He saw the truth that I had hidden from the entire galaxy. She turned back to Driven. You see me as a prize to be won, a tool to be used. You would marry me and spend our years together planning conquests and dreaming of power. You would never once ask me how I felt. You would never once care if I was happy. She gestured at Tejo. He would. That is why I chose him. Not because he is powerful. Not because he is worthy. Because he is kind. Because he is honest. Because he sees me. Driven trembled with rage, but he did not move. The queen's words hung in the air like a verdict. The galaxy measures strength in fire and steel, Valora continued. But I have lived long enough to know that true strength is something else. True strength is kindness when cruelty is easier. Patience when power beckons. Honesty when lies would serve better. She took Tao's hand. This man has that strength. You do not. None of you do. The attackers looked at each other. The fire of their anger was fading, replaced by something else. Shame, perhaps. Or the dawning understanding that they had never truly seen the queen at all. Leave, Valora commanded. Leave Lumora. Leave my empire. If I see any of you again, I will not be merciful. They left. Even Prince Driven, his pride broken, turned and walked away. The throne room fell silent. Tejo looked at Valora. She was still holding his hand. You did not have to do that, he said. You did not have to defend me. Yes, I did, she replied. You are mine now, and I protect what is mine. He smiled. It was a small, surprised smile. I am not sure I know how to be yours, he admitted. I have been alone for a long time. So have I, she said. Perhaps we can learn together. The wedding was held 1 month later. It was the largest celebration in the history of the Celestine Empire. Ships from every corner of the galaxy came to witness the impossible. A human marrying the Queen of the Stars. Te-Ho did not wear royal clothes. He wore his cargo pilot uniform, clean and pressed, but still simple. When the ministers objected, Valora overruled them. He came to me as he was, she said. He will marry me as he is. The ceremony was long and filled with traditions Tejo did not understand. He made promises in languages he could not speak and performed rituals that meant nothing to him. But when the time came to say his own words, he spoke simply. I do not promise to be a great king, he said. I do not promise to conquer worlds or perform miracles. I only promise to be here, to listen when you need someone to talk to stay when everyone else leaves, to remind you that you are not alone. Valora smiled. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. That is all I ever wanted, she said. They kissed and the galaxy cheered. Years passed. Tejo never took the title of king. He refused it every time it was offered. He preferred to be called simply the Queen's husband. It was a small title, almost humble, but it was honest. He walked beside Valora through her duties. He listened to her worries late at night. He made her laugh with stories about his cargo pilot days. He held her hand when the crown became too heavy and the loneliness threatened to return. He was not powerful. He was not special. He was just a man who had learned that the most important thing in the universe was not strength or wisdom or glory. It was simply being there for someone who needed you. Nari became his official advisor, though she still called herself a servant. Lady Isil became a trusted friend. Even some of the aliens who had mocked him learned to respect the strange human who'd won the Queen's heart. One day, a young journalist asked Taeho for an interview. She wanted to know the secret of his success. How had a human cargo pilot won the greatest competition in galactic history? Taeho thought about the question for a long time. "I did not try to win," he finally said. "I did not try to be stronger or smarter or better than anyone else. I just tried to be honest. I tried to see her as a person, not as a queen. I tried to offer her something real instead of something impressive. And that was enough?" The journalist asked. Taeho smiled. It was the same tired, gentle smile he had worn since the day he arrived on Lumora. "The galaxy is full of powerful beings," he said. "Gods and monsters and conquerors without number. Everyone is trying to be the strongest, the greatest, the most impressive. But in all that noise, sometimes the most extraordinary thing you can do is just be kind." He looked out the window at the silver clouds of Lumora. "I think she was waiting for someone who understood that. And I just happened to be the one who did." The journalist wrote her story, and it spread across the stars. It became a legend, a fairy tale that parents told their children. The story of a queen who had everything except someone who loved her for herself. And the ordinary man who gave her that gift. In the end, Kang Taeho died as all humans die, after only a few decades beside his immortal wife. But the queen never took another husband. She ruled for centuries more, and when anyone asked about the human man in the old pictures, she would smile with ancient, loving eyes. "He was enough," she would say. And that was the greatest compliment the galaxy had ever heard.